So we have the African mission, but we have the American mission. We have the American mission, and one of the great missionaries after the great missionaries of our days, like St. Herman or St. Innocent or St. Stephen or all the other ones that have preceded him, St. John of Shanghai in San Francisco, who was a missionary in San Francisco, missionary bishop in Western Europe, in San Francisco, Shanghai. But what we have in our day, who just reposed a few years ago, we have a great and amazing missionary in the person of Elder Ephraim of Philotheo in Arizona. And I want to talk, we could talk for hours. We will have a whole podcast dedicated to Elder Ephraim. It's in the works. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but hopefully not too long. But let's just talk about the call that he received and how he responded to that call. A lot of people don't know. Why did he come to America to begin with? Why did he live in Mount Athos, an abbot of a monastery, the spiritual father of thousands, hundreds of monks and nuns in Greece? And he left it all behind and he came to America. Do you think he would have done that without a clear call from God? No way. He received the call, first of all, from the faithful, not unlike St. Paul from Macedonia, but faithful and God in the vision, not unlike Bishop Nectarios, not unlike Father Cosmas, not unlike St. Cosmas, not unlike all the saints throughout the history of the church. He received the call from the faithful and then confirmation from God, and it came in the following way. Monastery of Philotheo, of course, is where Father St. Cosmas, who we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, lived and worked and left himself to go and travel all around Greece and teach and preach. And Father Elder Ephraim now is the abbot of Philotheo for about 10 years, I guess, or less. And he understood that God was calling him to something, but he wanted confirmation from God. And he felt that that would come after prayer, and all things were done throughout his life through prayer and receiving confirmation from God in prayer. And so they had determined to do a special vigil for Father Cosmas, St. Cosmas, I should say, at the Los, who they had not, in the Typicon of the monastery, had a special vigil, but they decided to do one in that year. And they ended up having a lot of people come. They did not expect, they didn't have they were scrambling to be able to feed them all and all the rest. And the elder tells the fathers, we're going to do a full-fledged Athonite vigil for the Saint Cosmas. And during the vigil, is my understanding, during the vigil, he had revelation from God, a call from Saint Cosmas himself, a visitation from the saint himself, in which he made it clear to Elder Ephraim that God wanted him to go to America and respond to the call of the faithful and to begin to confess and teach and guide people in America. So both God and man called him to America, and he responded. It's very important that we understand that this is the way Orthodox mission works. It doesn't work with a decision on our part alone that we're going to engage and do X, Y, Z, but it's with blessings, and God inspires and God guides. And that's how the church has always worked through the saints. And Elder Ephraim is one of the latest examples of that. And the fruit of Elder Ephraim's work in America is inestimable. It cannot be counted. It cannot be judged, because there are thousands and thousands of people who have been affected, their lives have been changed. They've returned to the church. They've come to the church. They've become nuns or monks, sisters and brothers in the monastery. 17 monasteries in North America. Actually, there's two or three others that are not really counted. They're the skeets and small monasteries. So one could say there's 20, but they're populated and known. In any case, 17 full-fledged monasteries that people go to all the time, and they're filled with strugglers for salvation. Of course, he had 8 monasteries already that had been established in Greece, in Seras, in Thasos, in Volos, women's monasteries, not far from Mount Olympus, another, in Veria, Edessa area. There's, of course, the 4 on Mount Athos, thousands of spiritual children all around the world. So the work is really hard to even fathom. And much of the work was done through the portal of confession for the return of the lost sheep that had been scattered abroad, both here and abroad, both in Greece and abroad. And that was the main conduit for bringing people back to Christ who had been there, who had fallen away, who were confused, who were secularized, who were thinking they were living Orthodoxy but had no idea what Orthodoxy was about, and it goes on and on. And he used in his work both economia and akrivia, both exactitude and economy. I'll give you an example of both of these so that you can see just, of course, that's always the case in the lives of the saints. That's given. That's those two things are going to be working simultaneously, depending on the discernment and the need that's being assessed. And he would use economy, of course, for the very sake that he left Mount Athos and go to America, and then would sit and confess and do all the missionary work that he did. Was a certain economy of God. It was an economy of God that was rare, very, very rare in the history of Mount Athos. And then beyond that, he would have people come to him, very well-meaning, but very uneducated, very alienated from basics of the Orthodox Christian life. So he would have women come to him not dressed modestly. He would have to economize them, try to slowly teach them how to be proper. He would accept them even though they had no idea how to fast, they had no idea how to pray, and he would work with them where they are to bring them slowly along as a good father, as a good mother does to their children. He would work with them and take them along, and that would be certainly a tremendous amount of the discernment and how to apply the economy of God so that they would not go in the wrong direction. They would return to Christ, but in a way that would be acceptable. They would actually be able to just pick up that cross and make progress. And so he said, without economy, there's no way we would have emptied the monasteries. Not only the parishes, but the monasteries would be empty, he said, without economy. So economy is at work all the time today in the life of the church, but it has to be salvific. It has to be something that leads them toward Christ. It has to be within the confines of that which the Holy Fathers have laid down. It has to be in agreement, not in opposition to the dogmatic consciousness. It has to be that which does not undermine the akrivia, but lead to it and returns men to the akrivia, which is the commandments of our Lord Jesus Christ and the strict life of keeping those commandments. That's the aim of economy. If economy, there is economy that's so-called economy today, right? There's a economia is used. People use the term, and yet they're actually doing paranomia in Greek. That means basically a breaking of the law, right? Economia means a management of the law or the management of the household. Ekos nomos, the law of the house. So there's a management going on, how to apply the law in the household of faith. Well, paranomia is a departure from the law. There's no management going on. And many times we hear the term economia, we actually have a departure from the law and not a detour that leads back to the main road of salvation. And so it's very important that we understand those two things are legitimate, but they have to be salvific, they have to be according to the Holy Fathers. So there was much pastoral economy with each individual as needed. That's one of the criteria. Economy cannot and must not become the rule. It has to be applied case by case, and it's for individuals. It's not a change of ecclesiastical stance. That's where exactitude has to be kept. In one's own personal monastic life, the elder had great exactitude in his spiritual life in order to be able to lift this great cross that he had. But also on the ecclesiastical plane, in obedience to the Holy Fathers, you cannot economize when it comes to dogma, when it comes to the phronema of the church, when it comes to the ethos of the church, which is that, obviously abortion is evil. We can't economize here. We can't say, well, maybe we can. No, there's no economy in terms of such a basic teaching that life is sacred from conception. There's no economy in terms of sexual relations outside of marriage. There's no economy in terms of those unnatural sexual acts that happen in our day and now are being blessed and baptized. There's no economy there. The gospel is clear. The teachings are clear. The boundaries are clear. And in those boundaries, we work out our salvation. Outside those boundaries, we are lost. And it's very, very clear in the Holy Father. So the elder came both with economy on personal level, pastoral needs according to each individual. And then he came with great exactitude in the spiritual struggle and the application on the ecclesiastical plane of the teachings of the Holy Fathers. And one of those examples, which we saw, St. Cosmas bought baptismal basins. Elder Father Cosmas in Africa baptized everyone. Bishop Nectarios in Madagascar baptized everyone. Elder Ephraim came and baptized everyone. No presuppositions for economy today according to these great ascetics and great missionaries. There's no economy when there's a destruction of the form and the type. It's an abandonment of what it means to be baptized. So we saw ekrivia here. Ekrivia when it comes to the so basic and foundational mystery. And so he baptized everyone just like the rest of our saints.